The film begins, and we see a girl who was swept by the sea and reached the edge of an island. The name of this girl is Jane, and her friend Brad also reached here, swept by the sea. She goes to him and checks him, finding that he was badly injured. In just a short while he dies. Seeing this, she becomes very upset. Later, leaving his body there, she begins to explore the island. But there is no one on the island. The whole island was deserted. This means the girl was now trapped here. After this, when she goes inside the island, she finds a bag at one place. Inside it, she finds a lady's purse and some children's belongings. Here, she also finds medicine with the date 1994 written on it. From this, Jane understands that perhaps someone came here many years ago. In this bag, she also finds matches, which she keeps with her. She goes back to the shore and sees a big hollow tree lying there. Seeing this, Jane gets the idea that at night, she can use it for sleeping to ensure her safety. Well, now Jane spends her first night here, and in the morning, when she wakes up, she sees that many fish had washed up on the shore, including a small shark, half of whose body had been eaten. She takes some fish from there for her food. Suddenly, Jane notices a place where there were 3 graves. Seeing this, Jane also digs a grave for her friend because his body had started to decay. Now, the next day, while Jane is roaming around the island, she sees that someone had removed her friend's body and half of it was eaten. Seeing this, Jane becomes very scared and does not understand who could have done this. She thinks it must have been some animal living on the island. So, she sharpens a piece of wood and makes a weapon for herself. After this, she sits outside the island, waiting for the animal. Well, now it's night, and Jane starts feeling sleepy, but the animal hasn't appeared yet. The next day, when Jane wakes up, she sees a suitcase in the sea. She thinks about getting the suitcase, so she goes into the sea and retrieves it. While in the water, she feels something below her, so she dives down and sees a big hole, which shocks her. Coming out, she opens the suitcase and finds some shoes and clothes inside, which she wears. At night, Jane starts checking the items in the suitcase and finds some photos. Looking at them, she understands that a family had come here on vacation, which included a couple and their 2 children. At that moment, Jane sees a plane flying overhead. She fires her flare gun at it, but it doesn't help because the plane has already gone. When the bullet from the flare gun comes down, Jane sees a creature in its shadow. Seeing this, she becomes very scared and runs toward the island, hiding in one place. The creature comes there and starts looking for Jane. This scares Jane even more, and she spends the night like this. The next morning, Jane looks at the photos again and notices glowing eyes in one of them. From this, she understands that the creature she saw yesterday might have killed this family. Seeing this, Jane becomes even more scared and desperately wants to leave the island. She opens the suitcase and puts her life jacket in it, planning to float away using it. She sits on the suitcase and tries to escape but falls off, failing in her plan. So, she returns to the island, realizing she needs a safe place to hide from the creature. She notices the hollow tree again and decides to sleep in it for the night. At night, the creature comes again and realizes Jane is hiding in the hollow tree. It tries to break the tree but fails and leaves, exhausted. The next morning, Jane comes out of the tree and sees the damage caused by the creature. To survive, she makes a new plan. She catches some big fish from the sea and hangs them on a tree, hoping the creature will eat them and leave. The next morning, Jane sees that her plan worked, as the creature ate the fish and went away. Later, she sees a decayed body washed ashore. She gets an idea and hangs this body on the tree, so the creature eats it and leaves her alone. Now, surviving here becomes very difficult for her. She digs a pit to hide in and waits for the creature at night. The creature comes, and Jane sees it for the first time. The creature looks terrifying, scaring Jane even more. It eats the hanging body, but Jane hears noises near her and sees the creature's feet nearby. She gets even more scared but somehow controls herself. The next morning, Jane decides to find a safe place. Knowing the creature's height, she builds a swing high in a tree to stay out of its reach. At night, The creature comes again and senses Jane's presence. It shakes the tree violently, causing the swing to break and Jane to fall. The creature chases her, and Jane runs to save her life. The creature runs faster in water than on land and blocks her path. Jane stabs the creature in the stomach with her wooden weapon. The creature throws Jane into the water, but she manages to save herself. She sees that the creature has left, and she hides in a tree again. The next morning, Jane's leg is badly injured, so she goes to the sea to clean herself. While bathing, she sees a raft with her two friends, Lucas and Mia, who had also survived and reached here. Jane is very happy to see them and shares fish with them. She tells them about the creature and says they need to leave quickly. But Lucas and Mia don't believe her and think she's lying. Lucas and Mia say they'd been drifting in the sea for 5 days and finally found this island. They don't want to leave. Jane shows them photos where the creature is clearly visible. But they still don't believe her. Jane realizes they won't listen to her. So, she secretly plans to steal their raft and escape. She tries to take their raft but gets caught by Mia, who attacks her. Jane loses consciousness. When she wakes up, she finds herself tied up, and it's already night. Jane begs Lucas to untie her, but Lucas and Mia ignore her. Later, Mia decides to explore the island while Lucas stays with Jane. As Mia is walking, the creature comes out of the water and attacks her. Hearing her screams, Lucas rushes to help, but the creature drags Mia into the water and kills her. Seeing this, Lucas becomes very scared and climbs a tree to hide. The next morning, Lucas stays in the tree, refusing to come down. He now believes Jane's warnings. Jane tells him, "The creature only comes out at night. It doesn't attack during the day." Hearing this, Lucas climbs down from the tree. Jane says they must leave the island quickly. Lucas agrees, and they gather fish, coconuts, and survival items for their journey. Lucas is still terrified, but Jane reassures him that they'll be far from the island before nightfall. Jane sits on the raft and notices some blood stains, realizing that Lucas and Mia must have killed and eaten a human companion to survive the past 5 days. As they start their journey, Lucas sees the creature in the water. Both of them panic and cover the raft. The creature attacks the raft, but Lucas uses the flare gun to fight it off. The creature grabs Jane and drags her underwater. Jane has a knife and stabs the creature multiple times. Lucas jumps into the water to save Jane. Seeing this, the creature lets go of Jane and grabs Lucas instead, taking him into its underwater lair. Jane, devastated by Lucas's death, swims back to the island. Determined to confront the creature, Jane decides to fight back. She gathers sharp wooden tools but finds them inadequate. She digs up graves, retrieves bones, and crafts sharp weapons from them. She plans to burn the creature, so she collects dry bushes and sets up a trap. At night, the creature arrives and Jane sets the bushes on fire, trapping the creature in the flames. She attacks it with her sharp weapons, injuring it severely. The creature grabs Jane, but she escapes and continues to fight. The injured creature collapses, and Jane stabs it multiple times before cutting its throat. The fire spreads across the island, and Jane hopes the large fire will attract help. The film ends as Jane's plan to signal for rescue sets the entire island ablaze.